in 5 key areas: in revenue, in exchange rates, in debts and borrowing, raising new funds for capital expenditure, and process and structure issues. One is the full and meticulous implementation of the rules in the 2020 Finance Act, requiring automatic deduction at source of past due operating surplus from government-owned enterprises and capping cost to revenue ratio for GOEs the maximum of 50-50. It's further recommended that FGN considers domiciling accounts of relevant GOEs and agencies in sub-accounts of the Treasury single account and deduct the due percentages of operating surplus at source before transferring the residue to the GOEs and the agencies. This will ensure that all due operating surplus and portions of due IGR is deducted at source. This is estimated to guarantee FGN operating surplus revenue of not less than 2 trillion. Number 2, strengthen the Fiscal Responsibility Commission by amendments to external law policy so as to fully implement the mandate of empirically calculating and collecting due operating surplus as provided in the Fiscal Responsibility Act. Expeditiously review tax expenditures through the 2021 Finance Act, because there's already a draft Finance Act which will be sent to the National Assembly, Finance Bill I mean. And this is to cap the tax expenditure at no more than 20% of total estimated value of each tax category. And once this is done, we estimated to free up not less than 2 trillion for the Federation account, another 2 trillion. Now, revenue from minerals and mining, which is grossly underestimated, should be properly calculated. Then revenue from electronic money transfers, formerly stamp duty, should also be properly calculated. We should have in the 2022 Appropriation Act an explicit provision abolishing fuel subsidies, under recovery or any other subsidy on petroleum motor spirit by whatever name called or under any guise whatsoever. This will save not less than 2 trillion and make them available for sharing at the Federation account. But not less than 60% of the savings accruing from abolishing the subsidy should be channeled to a dedicated ring-fenced statutory expenditure in education and health. Mark my words, abolish fuel subsidy, dedicate not less than 60% of the money that is coming from there to a dedicated ring-fenced account which must be released to shore up education and health service delivery in Nigeria. Full implementation of the petroleum industry reforms, remove politics from the reforms, appoint the duly qualified people with integrity into the management and the leadership of the companies. Of course, insecurity must be reduced if we are serious to raise more money. Exchange rates, harmonize them, unify them, let there be a single exchange rate which is to a great extent market determined. Let's reduce arbitrage and facilitate a more efficient management of the foreign exchange regime. Number 3, debts and borrowing. Let's increase public-private partnerships through well-prepared project statements involving MDAs, Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, and the private sector. Reduce borrowing by establishing special purpose vehicles that gather and aggregate resources from a plethora of sources, including institutional and retail investors, to form priority capital projects. And of course, set the consolidated debt limit in accordance with Section 42 of the Fiscal Responsibility Act, and in obedience to the unappealed judgment of the Federal High Court in Center for Social Justice against the Federal Republic of Nigeria and others, and consider a moratorium on new borrowing and stop funding recurrent expenditure from proceeds of borrowing. Now, let's raise new funds for capital expenditure. I've talked about universal health coverage through universal and compulsory health insurance, establishing a health bank of Nigeria. The rail sector financing can be approved through a road fund and the road management authority. Will be told about toll gates to be reintroduced. Let's back it by law and let's make it empirical in such a way that it will not cause undue hardship. Reorganizing railway development, remove it as a federal monopoly, introduce the private sector to invest. Even if the federal government or state government constructs railways, you can bring in the private sector to buy the wagons and put it on the rail tracks and run it in a profitable manner, and as well as paying levies and taxes to government. Of course, let's reorganize the National Housing Fund. And then procedural issues. We are saying that even though the fiscal calendar has been returned to January to December, Our budgets now start in January. President presents the budget around September, October. Let's amend the Constitution, Section 81, to say that the President must present a budget within a given time frame, and the legislature to continue proceedings before the end of the year. What this implies is that another president can come and may not have the discipline to continue doing it the way the current president is doing. Then, of course, we need the results of evaluation of programs, that are paid for by budget money. We need to separate the Ministry of Finance and Budget and National Planning into two ministries. The first one should be the Ministry of Finance, which naturally takes care of treasury issues, while Ministry of National Planning refers to its former developmental planning mandate and combines it with budgeting. This recommendation is based on the importance of the ministries to the economy and the fact that combining them seems contradictory. It is evidently difficult to combine the competencies required to run these disparate ministries into one person or group of persons. Finance is about just thinking of how do we get money to run the budget today, treasury issues. National planning is long term. So the two competencies should not just be put together. It's difficult to find one agency that will combine them. Let's separate them. Let's also separate the Ministry of Works and Housing into two separate ministries so that we can concentrate. Because the job they need to do in Nigeria, the housing deficit, the poor state of our roads, is not something you combine in one place. Let there be two ministers or two agencies that are simply focused on finding solutions to the problem. What will tell you that what we have in Works and Housing is a joke is that only about 21 roads have been singled out by NNPC under the tax credit scheme, and are going to spend 621 billion to get them back to shape. Most of them are not new roads, or they're trying to bring them back to shape. Now go and look at the budget of the Ministry of Works and Housing. They have over 200 roads. And how much is the total budget of the ministry? 21 roads, 621 billion. Over 200 roads, look at the amount, you come back and say why these two should not be separated. Then we need the details of all statutory transfers, National Human Rights Commission, National Assembly, National Judicial Council, Public Complaints Commission, Independent National Electoral Commission, Niger Delta Development Commission, Northeast Development Commission, all those are statutory transfers. Their money is just stated as a lump sum. We need the details. Of course, service-wide votes, all those big monies in SDGs, in service-wide votes, we need their disaggregation. And we are saying, every year we have National Assembly collecting 100 billion members to say we need to do what? Constituency projects. We think that they should only intervene in projects that are within the legislative competence of the National Assembly in the exclusive legislative list. Because if you go to the exclusive legislative list, you can't find some of these local things that are doing. Town halls, small water projects in their villages. Because the implication is that when you build this with federal money can only pay for the capital component. The concurrent component to facilitate it can only be done by states and local governments. And where the states and local governments are not ready to bring in money, particularly states where you are a legislature from party A, and then at the state level is the opposition party that is there, and you don't have a rapport with the governor or local government chairman, you can as well finish building a primary health center, which has been discovered in some of the researches we've done, and the building is there, taken over by Wiz and Lizard, money has been spent, but no value has accrued to the people. So ladies and gentlemen, I've concluded the first part before I go to the second part, which will take more than 10 minutes. Do we have some questions here? Because this seems more contentious than the first part before I run into the second part.